सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठादिवि सेव्यमानो स्मरामि। श्रीमान् राससारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थितः कर्षन् वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रीस्तुनः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। So we spoke about the determination, about the knowledge in three types according to the gunas, three types of determination. The determination which is unbreakable, that is more of goodness. Determination which is based on the fruits of action, that is passion. The determination which doesn't go beyond dreaming, that is ignorance. Now 36th verse. Krishna is going to speak about the happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. Let us see. Sukham pidanim trividham shunu me bharatarshava abhyasadramate yatra sukha dukhantam na nigacchati. Sukham pidanim trividham shunu me bharatarshava abhyasadramate yatra dukhantam cha nigacchati. Krishna says sukham to idanim trividham. Three types of sukha is there. Shunu. Krishna again says shunu. Hear from him. Bharatarshava, oh the best among the Bharata. Abhyasa, by practice one enjoys, and then dukha, at the end what happens? He only gets dukha. So let us see. The conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. So whatever material happiness that comes to an end, that is only distress. For getting material happiness, a person endures a lot. But the material happiness is always an end. But the spiritual happiness or spiritual base bliss goes on increasing at every step. Okay. Janardhan Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sukham tvidani trividham shunu me bharatarshava abhyasadramate yatra dukkantam cha nigacchati. Translation: O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all the distress. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The conditioned soul tries to enjoy material happiness again and again. Thus he chews the chewed, but sometimes in the course of such enjoyment, he becomes relieved from the material entanglement by association with a great soul. In other words, a conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification. But when he understands by good association that it is only a repetition of the same thing and he is awakened to his real Krishna consciousness, he is sometimes relieved from the such repetitive so-called happiness. Hare Krishna.
Yat tad agre vishanva pariname mrutopamam tasukam satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Yat tad agre vishanva pariname mrutopanam tatsukam satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Now, what type of happiness? It is said that which is in the beginning is like a poison, but at the end it is like the nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be the happiness in the mode of goodness. The austerity which the person in the mode of goodness do, for them first it is like a poison, but afterwards it is like a nectar. Any happiness, which is any activity, initially it is very troublesome, and afterwards it is a nectar, and which increases our self-realization. That happiness is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Like initially, waking up early in the morning, it is like a poison, isn't it? Then slowly, slowly it becomes a nectar. You like to do that. If somebody says chant, chant, you don't like to do that in the beginning. It is like a poison. Oh, what is this? From where these ISKCON people have come? Somebody told him, Mataji, I like your call. I don't like your call. I like your Prabhuji's call. Some 20 years back used to say. Because the time my Prabhuji used to speak to him about cricket and all those things. And whenever I used to take the call, I used to call him. I used to ask him, how many rounds are you chanting? Because that was what the question even my superiors used to ask to me. So that is a trend. ISKCON means, ISKCON people means, we just ask others, how many rounds you chant? Generally, this is a trend. Are you chanting? So then people try to avoid such people. So then for them, that is like a poison. But when you take it up, it may be like a poison. It may be troublesome. Waking up early in the morning, taking baths, dropping all tea, coffee, everything. It's like a poison. But afterwards, the same thing becomes nectar. And that awakens one to self-realization. That means we are in the path of self-realization. So that happiness is considered to be the mode of goodness, like going every time to the temple, doing some seva. Initially, it is like a poison, but afterwards, you get addicted to that. And that addiction is actually the happiness which is derived in the mode of goodness. Ansubi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yadgre Vishamiva Pariname Mritopamam Tatsukam Satvikam Proktam Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. Translation. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Thus, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and senses, and to concentrate the mind on self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison, but if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. Hare Krishna.
विषयेन्द्रिय संयोगा यत्तद् अग्रे मृतोपमं परिणामे विषमिव तत्सुखं राजसं स्मृतम् विषयेन्द्रिय संयोगात् यत्तदग्रे मृतोपमं परिणामे विषम् इव तत्सुखं राजसं स्मृतम्. So what is rajasic sukha? So this happiness is derived from the contact of senses with the sense objects. And it appears like the nectar in the beginning, and then afterwards this is poison. So people like to go have outside food, drink, mix with all. My intermingling is there. So it appears like a nectar because senses and the sense objects. It's not for the self-realization. This happiness is because the senses come in contact with the sense objects. One tries to take the pleasure from the sense objects, try to enjoy the senses. So it is like nectar in the beginning. It's like very nice, wonderful. Who doesn't like to go for an outing? Who doesn't like to go and take a wonderful break? But that break is also taken by devotees. And that break is a yatra. But in the yatra, the devotees do more hard work, isn't it? Going in the parikrama, they do more hard work. But that may sound like a poison, but it gives nectar, it gives bliss. But you see, materialistic enjoyment, they'll go take rest, they'll do all type of sense gratificatory things. It may be like a nectar, but that is actually a poison. So Krishna says that type of happiness is in the nature of passion. Okay, there's Sagar Prabhu. Read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Vishayendriya Sanyogat Yatvat Agre Mrito Pamam Pariname Visham Va Tatsukam Rajasam Smritam. Translation. The happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first but poison at the end is said to be of the nature of passion. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The young man and the young woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourses. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like poison. They are separated, or there is divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mood of passion. Happiness derived from a combination of the senses and the sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. Hare Krishna.
So this talk like love at the first sight, then I met this boy, let me run out from this boy. So it is like a nectar in the beginning, but afterwards they like to divorce because they don't match their astrological charts, they're not into Vedic culture. So all these things are happening. And because of this, it may sound very nice in the beginning, but afterwards one has to suffer. Okay. Then, what is tamasic? Tamasic happiness. Rajasic happiness, senses and sense objects. Tamasic happiness. Yadagre anubandhe cha sukham mohanamatmanah nitralasya pramadotham tattamasa udarutam. Yadagre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanam atmanah nidralasya pramadotham tatamasam udharutam. So that happiness which is blind to self-realization, that means doesn't want to take up the spiritual injunctions. You see in the previous also, wherever tamas has come, they don't want to abide by the rules given in the spiritual, in the Vedic injunctions. So it is in the beginning also, it is an illusion, delusion from the beginning to the end. It is delusion. Illusion is more degraded form of illusion. Illusion is at the level of passion. Delusion is at the level of ignorance. So that only arises, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion. They're very lazy, want to always sleep, always be in illusion. So such people's happiness is always in the nature of ignorance. They like to sleep late, they like to wake up also late, they think this is happiness, and because of that, they have no strength in their body. They are so lazy to do any work. And this is all because of the ahara. If you see the ahara also, you write all the tamas in one group, then you can understand what is the cause. The ahara is like that, thought process is like that. So the mode of ignorance, because of which he's dominated, this mode of ignorance doesn't allow that person. And why that mode of ignorance has come? Because of his previous life karmas. And because of that, he has a demonic tendency. He is a demon. If you see, he is a demonic tendency, a demon, because he's against the scriptures. And those people, they are very lazy in Krishna consciousness. They are very lazy in the subject of self-realization. They don't want to do it. The second chapter also, if you see, last one words, what it is, Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam, Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, Tasyam. So in this way, Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam, when everybody is sleeping, the person in Krishna consciousness, he is awake. When everybody is awake, at that time this person sleeps. Because night is meant to sleep. Night is not meant to be awake. Night 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, people don't sleep. And morning 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, they don't wake up. So night is meant to sleep. There are some people who sleep 5 o'clock in the morning. It's happening. Especially nowadays, the trend of the children is they should study whole night. And to keep them awake, they have the chocolates or cocoa drink and all those things, artificial stimulators, artificial boosters. Because of that, it is affecting the other parts of the body. That is why a lot of diseases come, cancer, and all these things are only because of wrong habits. And to add it on, where nowadays working style is also like that. You have, what is that night it works? What is it called? Call centers. This America call is there. The whole night it will be in an American company. My son is working in an American company. No, he's working in a donkey's company. It's not an American company. It's a donkey's company. Whole night he is striving like a donkey. Don't take pride out of it. Because once Guru Maharaj was talking to somebody, and because of the profession, they used to be awake in the nights. Then Guru Maharaj told, night is meant to sleep. Tamas makes a person go to sleep. But if you are going against the law of nature, then what happens? We become sick. And our duration of life also goes away. And what does a devotee do? Devotee uses this tamas to take some rest, so that this body, which is yantra rudhari maya, gets some small rest and can be very fresh in the morning. Okay, so your all work is right from the 13th chapter, 14th chapter, write down all aspects about one gunas. If you do this, it will be very easy to interlink. Why is it like that? Mode of goodness, write down everything. Okay, Narayana, read.
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च सुखं मोहनमात्मनः निद्रालयस्य प्रमादोत्थं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्. Translation: and that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of darkness, ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end. For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end.
So there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end. Nidralasya pramadottam tattamasam pradharutam. Now, so he's summarizing. Lord is now going to summarize all the three modes of material nature. Na tadasti pratibhyam va devi deveshu va punaha sattvam prakriti jair muktam yadebhi syat tribhirgunaha. न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्त्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं यदेभिः सात्त्रिभिर्गुणैः. There is no existing, there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these three modes of material nature. That means everybody, right from a small ant to the upper planetary systems to the demigods, everybody is under the modes of material nature. They are under the influence of three modes of material nature. Now, because of this three modes of material nature, we have four varnas: Brahmana, Vaishya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now let us see. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham, Shudranam cha parantapa, Karmani pravibhaktani, Svabhava prabhavairgunaihi. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham, Shudranam cha parantapa, Karmani pravibhaktani, Svabhava prabhavairgunaihi. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham, that is Vaishya, Shudra, they all perform their activities according to the gunas which they have got. Prabhavaha, that means born of, they are born in the particular mode of material nature. According to that, they have got that guna. Okay, Gadadhar Prabhu, read. Gadadhar Prabhu, 41st verse.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Sudranam cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhavir Gunai. Translation: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by their qualities born of their own nature in accordance with the material modes. O chastest of the enemy.
Okay, now let us see the quality of Brahmana. Shamodavastapa shaucham shantirarjavameva cha jnanam vijnanamastikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Learn these verses. Brahmana's quality. Immediately you should know to speak Brahmana's qualities. We studied this in the earlier chapter also. Brahmana's qualities, Kshatriya qualities. Here more elaborately Krishna is explaining. Their 12 qualities have been told. Here now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 qualities has been given. Important 9 qualities. Shamodamastapa shaucham shantirajam vacha jnanam vijnanamastikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Shama means is very peaceful. Damaha, he has self-control. Tapaha, he does austerity. Shaucham, he is very pure from outside, pure from inside. Shaucham also means clean. He is clean inside, outside. Shanti is tolerant. Arjavam is honest. Jnanam, he has knowledge. Vijnanam, he knows to apply the knowledge. That is, he is wise, he has wisdom. Astikyam, that means he has faith in the scriptures. His religiousness that refers to his faith in the scriptures. Then that person is actually a Brahmana. He should have faith in the scriptures. He should be clean. He should be peaceful. He should be tolerant. All these things are being given. Not only he has knowledge, he is wise to use that knowledge. Gyanupama, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shamodamastapa shaucham Shamodamastapah socham.
Shantirajamavev cha.
Shantir arvam evacha.
Jnanam vijnanamastikhyam.
Jnanam vijnanam astikhyam.
Brahma karma svabhavajam.
Karma Swabhavajam. Translation: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmins work.
Okay. Now, how are the Kshatriyas? Shauryam tejodutir daksham yuddhe chapya palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma svabhavajam Shauryam tejodutir daksham yuddhe chapya palayanam danam ishvara bhavascha Kshat, chat, chane. This is kshatram karma svabhavadam. Kshatram karma svabhavajam. So how is a Kshatriya? He is Shaurya. He is hero. He has a heroism, power, teja, dhruti. He is determined. Daksham. Daksham means is expert. Expertise depends upon your resources also. To do a thing, you need resources. That is why resourcefulness has been given. But daksham, dakshata, refers to expert in doing a thing. Expert in protecting the kingdom. Why is he expert? He has such type of resources. Expert in protecting a person. He is expert. Why? Because he has resources. And he is shauryam. He is also hero, power, determination. He is daksham, yuddhe. He is courageous in the war, in the battle. Apalayanam. Krishna says, you are a Kshatriya, no? You should not think of running away from here. Arjuna's thought process was there. Beg Shamapiyal, okay, let me go and beg. Let me run away from here. Krishna says, a hero will not flee. Danam, he is generous. Ishvara, he is a leader, controller. Ishvara refers to controller. This is his nature. Now see, in school also, there will be a person who is having all these qualities. And naturally the teacher makes him what? The monitor of the class, the head of the class. And not only he has these qualities, he will be expert in having the quality of a Brahmana also. So generally Brahmana guides Kshatriya. Brahmana is required to channelize all these qualities in a proper way. Chanakya Pandit is to guide whom? Which king? Who can tell? Chanakya guided whom?
Chandragupta Maurya.
Okay. Who was guiding Lord Shivaji Maharaj? Who can tell?
Mataji Chandragupta.
Shivaji Maharaj. Ramdas, his guru. You need a Brahmana to guide a Kshatriya. Why? Because how to use these qualities for the welfare of the people. That is more important. That is why there will be always a guru for a Kshatriya. Now when Krishna takes the role of a Kshatriya as a Ram, Prabhu Ram, at the time Vishwamitra guides him, Vashishta guides in this way. Krishna shows that even though I am born, Krishna has all the knowledge, he is the source of all the knowledge, but still Krishna accepts Guru. So these qualities are found in Kshatriya. Shauryam, Tejo, Dhritirdaksha, Yuddhe, Chapya, Palayanam. Danam, Ishvara Bhavascha. This is the nature. Okay, Jumur, read.
Shaurya Shodriti Daksham Yuddhi Chapya. Sorry. This one is only going on, no?
Mm.
I thought it changed the page. शौर्यं तेजोधृति दाक्ष्यं युद्धे चाप्यपलायनम् दानमीश्वरभावश्च शास्त्रं कर्म स्वभावजम् Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas.
Okay, now what is the quality of a Vaishya and what is the quality of a Shudra? कृषि गोरक्ष वाणिज्यं वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजं परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम् कृषि गोरक्ष वाणिज्यं वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजं परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम्. They know how to plow. Krishi goraksha, they know how to protect the cows. Not just take a jhanda and say we are protector of the cows. No, they know how to milk the cows. They know how to remove the child from the cow, the baby calf. They do all the work. That means they have this Vaishya quality. And they know to do business also. They're very expert in business. And then for the Shudras, what is the work? They are laborers. They serve others. So all the four, they constitute the body of Krishna. Shudras are compared to the feet of Krishna. Hands are Kshatriyas. Vaishyas are the stomach. And the head is Brahmana. That means everyone is having a particular duty and everybody has been given this responsibility. And that is how the society runs. Krishi goraksha vanityam vaishyakarma subhavajam paricharyatmakam karma shudrasyapi subhavajam. Okay. So it is said Brahmana has more of goodness. Kshatriya has passion which is guided by the goodness. Vaishya has passion which is guided by ignorance. And Shudras are predominantly in ignorance. So the ahara, everything will be like that only. You cannot just sit with a neighbor and tell him, see, you should not eat this. He will do that. Let him do. Engage him in Krishna's service. Like Srila Prabhupada engaged the laborers in building the temple. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also engaged the laborers in building the temple. At that time, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to roll bidis for them. It's not saying, it's not put for regulatory principles for them because their ahara is like that. They should take that ahara. If they don't take, because of the hard work, how much labor they do, how much hard work they do, it actually pains their body. Because of that, they have to take such type of ahara. But then Sukruti will happen. But just by engaging them in Krishna's service, maybe in the construction, whatever it is, they'll someday get a nice, wonderful Sukruti. And because of that Sukruti, they will be uplifted. Like when the Ratha was made, first Ratha was made, 4 drunkards were called, but they were all very sturdy. Their condition to Srila Prabhupada was, every day we want 1 bottle of wine. Prabhupada told his disciple, go and get 4 bottles of the wine every day. So this disciple went to buy. Another brahmachari sees him and comes to Prabhupada and says, Prabhupada has yet not left his habit. He is in the beer shop buying wine. You don't know. Prabhupada said he is doing pure devotional service. He did not give any explanation. Prabhupada just said he is doing pure devotional service. That is right. Following the orders of the Guru is pure devotional service, isn't it? And then afterwards, every day it was given. After the Ratha was made, one of them joined the movement. And in this way, it was Jayapataka Maharaj. Just imagine. Whom Prabhupada gave all this and brought him in Krishna consciousness. And today he's a leader, having so many disciples. So when who will change, we don't know. How the self-realized souls bring change in the life of a person, make them so elevated that only they know how to use the modes in Krishna's service. That is more important. How to use the modes in Krishna's service. If somebody is having a lot of ignorance, then naturally he will have this labor type tendency. He will work like anything. But then he will work means he can take that much load because he's intoxicated. In that intoxication, he will not have that feel of pain. So use him in temple construction, simple. Use him in the service of the Lord, in Ratha building. This only Prabhupada is so expert. Okay. Vaishnav Gaur Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Just a minute.
44th.
Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam Vyashya Karma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Shudrasyapi Swavajam
Swabhavajam.
Swabhavajam. Translation: Farming, crop protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. Hare Krishna. आपने 40th verse किसी ने read किया क्या? I think बीच में miss हो गया.
कौन सा 40th? Okay, read.
40th and 41 आपने इकट्ठा पढ़ा ना, फिर 41 दादाधर प्रभु ने पढ़ा.
Okay, 40th you read.
थोड़ा difficult हुई है.
स्वे स्वे कर्मण्य
ना तदस्ति
Okay, 40th ना यहाँ. न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा
दिवि ना तदस्ति पृथिव्यां ना तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा
पृथ्वी नहीं है, पृथ्वी नहीं है, पृथ्वी
ना तदस्ति पृथिव्यां
ना नहीं है, न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा
न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा दिवि देवेषु
वा पुनः
सत्वं प्रकृति जैर्मुक्तं यदेभि स्यात् त्रिभिर्गुणैः Translation: There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Purport: The Lord here summarizes the total influence of the three modes of material nature all over the universe.
Okay, 1 minute. 36. Started. स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धि लभते नरः स्वकर्मानिरतः सिद्धि यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु. Again Krishna says, here. It should not happen that he doesn't hear. That is what Krishna says, hear from me. How many times Krishna has told till now? He started with the 7th chapter, yes. Tachrunu. And now Krishna is repeatedly saying, hear from me. How? By following his qualities of the work. Just by following whatever quality has been given, he can become perfect. Sve sve karmanya bhiratah samsiddhi labate naraha swakarma niratah siddhim. Nirata siddhim yatha vindati tashnu. Whatever quality he has given, by following his qualities of work. But he has to do that work according to the quality what he has got. A Shudra has to serve the upper classes. A Kshatriya has to protect the society. A Vaishya has to do the trading. Brahmana has to guide the society, read the scriptures. If they do this, everything will be perfect. But in Kali Yuga, what happens? No one is following their own qualities. Brahmana, you can see, standing in the warfare. What a Brahmana has to do. So he is not taking the gunas, because by birth he has got the gunas. It's not so easy to get the birth of a Brahmana, Kshatriya. Whatever birth Krishna has given, Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Whatever gunas a person has got, according to that he gets a birth. Now, if he has got that birth, he should utilize that birth. And if he doesn't utilize that birth, then he cannot attain any siddhi, Krishna says. Now, devotional service is beyond these things. He can be born in the most lowest family. But if he has taken up to Krishna consciousness, he is the topmost in the Brahmanas. Brahmaniti janati Brahmana. It is not just birth which decides a person as a Brahmana. It is also his activity. If he is born as a Brahmana, but is not utilizing his birth, he is only a Dvija. He is Dvija, twice born. He is studying the scriptures, Vipraha, but he has not realized the scriptures. On the other hand, a person may be born in a dog eater's family. It doesn't matter. But by the anugraha of the spiritual master, he gets into Krishna consciousness so seriously, so sincerely, that he crosses everything. He crosses the modes also. And then he is known as a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava is the topmost in the Brahmana category. So for a Vaishnava, it is not the birth which decides whether he is a Vaishnava or not. It is his nature. It is his quality. It is his surrenderance to Krishna, which decides that he is the topmost in the Brahmana. Brahmaniti janati Brahmana. So in the episode of Ramanujacharya, last time we had discussed that how Ramanujacharya met Kanchi Purna, Tirukachi Nambi. At that time, he was very young boy, maybe 11, 12 years boy. At that time, Tirukachi Nambi used to say that, oh, you are born in a high-class family. I cannot come to your house. He says, no. Your devotion to Krishna decides your designation. You are the topmost in everything. So at that time itself, just imagine 1,000 years before, such liberal thoughts Ramanujan gave to Tirukachi Nambi. So this is most important. Okay, and even Srila Prabhupada, when he went to West, he did not meet Brahmanas over there. He did not meet even Shudras over there. He met those who were not even in the 4 categories. That means the person who is in the mode of delusion, ignorance, when it is crossing beyond the limits, that ignorance is known as delusion, where he is not even qualified to be called as Shudra. At least Shudras also follow the scriptures. They also have certain mode of worship. They also do certain things. But his audience were not even coming in the category of Shudras, or why Shudras will be called as the feet of Krishna. So just say, Srila Prabhupada met such type of people and how he uplifted them. Just because of his pureness. Only a self-realized pure person, like a touchstone, he's like a touchstone. Anything comes in contact with the touchstone will become gold. So that is a mercy of Acharyas. Okay. Hansuti Prabhu, please read.
Vese karmaniya bherata samsiddhim labate nara sarva karma nirata siddhim yata vidanti takshuna. Translation. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. Right.
Okay, last verse. यथा प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यचर्य सिद्धिमिन्दति मानवः. यथा प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यचर्यम्. tamabhyacharyam siddhimindati manavaha. Krishna says, by the worship of Lord, yataha pravrittihi bhutana yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyacharya. Abhyacharya means by worshipping the Lord, who is the source of all beings, pravritti bhutanam, and who is all pervading also. The idam tatam means he is all pervading. Just by worshipping Lord, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So whatever work a person does, Shudra is supposed to serve person, Brahmana is supposed to guide people, Kshatriya is supposed to protect the people, Vaishya is supposed to do the Krishi, Goraksha, Vanitya. So just by doing this and worshipping Lord, that means Chaturvarniyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Chaturvarniyam Maya Srishtam. Krishna has done this. But what is the purpose of Varnashrama? Varnashrama Achrutaha Purushena Parapuma. Vishnu Aradhate Pantha Nanyataposha Karnam. The purpose is to worship Lord. Just by worshipping Lord, the person can attain perfection by performing his own work. And then Krishna says, Atha Pumbir Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Tasya Kartaram Apima Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So anyone who is any living being, he is in the category of these four. Just by worshipping Krishna, Vishnu Aradhyate Pantaha, Vishnu Toshanam, for the satisfaction of Krishna, if a person does, then he can attain perfection. Okay. Narayana, read.
Yata pravrittirbhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyacharya siddhim vindati manavaha. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. Purpose by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. As stated in the 15th chapter, all living beings are fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Janmadiyasya Pitah. The Supreme Lord is therefore the beginning of life of every living entity. And as stated in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord, by his two energies, his external and internal energy, is all pervading. Therefore, one should worship the Supreme Lord with his energies. Generally, the Vaishnava devotees worship the Supreme Lord with his internal energy. His external energy is a perverted reflection of the internal energy. The external energy is a background, but the Supreme Lord, by expansion of his plenary portion as Paramatma, is situated everywhere. He is the super soul of all demigods, all human beings, all animals, everywhere. One should therefore know that as a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one has his duty to render service unto the Supreme. Everyone should be engaged in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness. That is recommended in this verse. Everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesha, the master of senses. And by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. If one thinks always in this way, in full Krishna consciousness, then by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 12.7, Teshamaham samudharta. The Supreme Lord takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. In whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So tomorrow we'll have the session, this class at 8:30 in the morning. You have 3.35th verse and 18.47th verse, similar verse. 3.35, 18.47. So before sleeping, just read these two verses and the translation purport tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any doubts? So we
Mataji,
have more 30
8.35?
verses. 3.35.
3.35. 3. Okay.
So I'll take both Saturday and Sunday classes in the mornings only, because now Deeptan will start. So in the morning, so that peacefully we can complete. I need another 3-4 classes just to complete. So tomorrow will be 8:30. Saturdays. ठीक है. Okay, you chant first.
Mukam karo Hare Krishna. Mukam karo Divachala. Angum langete kiri. Etipathamaham bande. Paramananda madhavam.
Hari Bol.
Patavati mudasa. Patavati devate. Patranam pavani devate. Deviyanam devate.
Jai. So any doubts in this subject? She wants to wind up.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Tomorrow morning, my deity kitchen seva is there in temple.
8:30 to 9:30. What I can do.
ठीक है मैं try सेवा होगे तो join करती Mataji.
No problem. Hari Bol. Even here, Hans Rupi Prabhu has DT Kitchen Seva. 8:30 to 9:30 after that.
Okay Mataji.
రేపు పొద్దుగాల 8 గంటలకు